Yes, we need to look at our new standing orders. A few things have been changed in the new standing orders. But I call on the table office to look at the request for permission and whether that request was approved. If so, please, you do the right thing by making sure that he's absent with permission. If not, you leave it as it is. But now our standing orders talks about us sitting for 5 hours, not the 4 hours as indicated by the earlier standing orders. And so there will be some change as to a time to announce or give notice to the House of an extension of sitting. So we may have to look at it again. Page 7. Yes, please.
Your Right Honorable Speaker, I was marked absent without permission, but I was present. Thank you.
What's your number?
Number is 138.
138. Yes, you want to help her?
No, Mr. Speaker, I had a different matter that I wanted to raise, but she said 138, page 7.
Yes, 138, yes. Yes, you could now add yours.
And Mr. Speaker, again on page 7, number 134, I was in the house but marked absent, so if can be captured.
Are you sure that day you were in the house?
Mr. Speaker, yes. And I even granted an interview on that day. I came in and my members had done the press conference and left. But at least I was in the chamber and it should reflect as such. If you are here independently representing our people, on that day I was here. And I granted an interview after that.
Yes, table office. Can we take note of that? Page 8. Yes, sorry, page 7.
7. Mr. Speaker, number 115. I was present that day, but not absent. Thank you.
Number 115. Can you take note? Yes.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Page 6, number 69. I was present in the chamber. Thank you.
Table office, can they take note? Any more? Okay, we'll move to page 8. Page 9, page 8. Yes, please.
I'm going to Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, page 8, the tradition of this House, when there has been a boycott by one side, is that the votes and proceedings capture that. But you go through the entire votes and proceedings, and Mr. Speaker, that is not reflected. Mr. Speaker, for example, if you take the Thursday, 7 November one, that is captured. That boycott or lack of attendance is stated. But in the case of the 22nd October 2024 no show by our colleagues on the other side. It's not captured. You only get a slight sense of that when you look at the Speaker's ruling, where the Speaker says that the House did not have the numbers to take decisions. But why didn't we have the numbers? That must be stated, because our colleagues were not in the House that day. And that has been the tradition. It is always stated in the votes and proceedings. So, Mr. Speaker, if the table office can reflect that development, because it is missing.
Yes, Honorable, is that Chairman of Constitutional Legal and Parliamentary?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in response to my colleague's correction, I do not think that we were in the House and we walked out. That's what we call boycott. Members, it is recorded that 120 were present. This number was absent with permission, and these numbers were absent, Mr. Speaker. And I think that the records, it's captured it straight away. Nothing happened in the chamber that indicates that a group of the people had boycotted Parliament. And therefore, I think it should remain as such. Thank you.
Well, I can only direct the table office to cross-check as to what happened that day. Because on record, there is no indication of a boycott or even a walkout. But my ruling gave an indication that we do not have sufficient numbers. And definitely those of us who were present also observed a few things. And I think that it have been captured by the verbatim reporters who were present in the House. But our attention has been drawn by the honorable member for Domi Kwabinya that she came later on and was present in the House. And so we have to make sure that we capture all this. But I recall talking about adjourning the House, the meeting, not suspending the meeting. So please, table office, take note of it. Of my ruling. Now we go to page 9, page 10, page 11, page 12, page 13, page 14, page 15, page 16, page 17, honorable members, in the absence of any further corrections, the votes and proceedings of Tuesday, 22nd October 2024 are hereby adopted as a true record of proceedings. We now take Thursday, 7th November 2024, page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, page 6, page 7, please.
I'm going to write on speaker. Write on speaker, page 7, item number 4. Your formal communication to the House. Second paragraph. The 2 requests. The dates provided are incomplete. We only have 22nd October and 24th October, but the year is missing. So if they can add a year, this being a House of Records, I presume it's 22nd October 2024 and 24th October 2024. I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker.
Table office kindly do so. Page 8. Honourable members, the votes and proceedings of the emergency sitting dated Thursday, 7th November 2024, as corrected, are adopted as a true record of proceedings. We now move to the official reports, and I have 4 copies of different sorry, my attention has been drawn to the fact that Honorable Osechi Mensah was on his feet. Sorry. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, not really a matter of controversy, but I thought that is for consistency. Mr. Speaker, you adjourned the sitting of 7th November 2024 on account of the prevailing situation in the House. That you took cognizance of the fact that a group of members were not present in the House. And then you proceeded to, on account of that, you proceeded to adjourn the House sine die. That was on the 7th of November 2024. Speaker, on Tuesday, 22nd October 2024, when you adjourned the House, it was an account of prevailing circumstances. One, and you yourself mentioned it, the prevailing circumstances. 2, the question on the composition and constitution of Parliament. And 3, having regard to public interest. These were the 3 reasons that you cited, and then you proceeded to adjourn the House. Mr. Speaker, I'm just juxtaposing the 2 circumstances. Same thing. And in that regard, what you did will not qualify for a ruling, because I've heard people refer to the fact that we made a ruling. A ruling on what? A ruling is only made when there's a matter in contention, and then you come in to give your interpretation and how the House should proceed. So what you did, captured on page 8 of the votes and proceedings of Tuesday, 22nd October 2024, which has been described as your ruling, with the greatest respect. The adjournment was an account of the prevailing circumstances, and you related to it. And as far as I'm concerned, that will not qualify for a ruling of the House. Mr. Speaker, thank you.
Yes, please.
Mr. Speaker, we are correcting votes and proceedings. There is nothing here that says that the Speaker gave a ruling. There is nothing. Mr. Speaker, page 8 says Speaker informed the House. So it was information coming from Mr. Speaker. As for what other people have said on radio, it cannot be part of our votes and proceedings.
Well, I take it that the word ruling has been used loosely, because the votes and proceedings are very clear. They refer to what happened that day as formal communications. On both instances, it's captured there as formal communications. But what is generally understood by many, particularly the public, is ruling. And so we are all caught up. Even I have fallen a number of times into that trap, and I've used it a number of times. So it's not a formal ruling, but just communication to the House. And I think that the former majority leader was drawing our attention to it. But Honorable Mama Yada is right. We are correcting the votes and proceedings of the House, and there's nothing referred there to ruling. It's just information to members. It's a formal communication. Yes, Member of Parliament for Domi Pabinya.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, also to take you back to the vote and proceedings, which you've already cleared, but I just want to draw your attention to something on page 14 about the Committee on Employment, Labor Relations and Pensions. Honorable Comfort Doyle originally is not a member of the committee, but the matter that we were considering was bothering in her, or was happening in her constituency. And I remember that every time that we met, she made herself available. So if it can be captured as in attendance, at least it would capture the true reflection of what happened on that day. She's always been part of our meeting as the Member of Parliament in the Adan area where the electoral issue occurred. Not as a member of the committee, but as the sitting Member of Parliament who has shown concern. Thank you.
The table office kindly take note. Anyway, let's now look at the official report, starting with the one on 5th July 2024, which is a Friday. The proceedings of that day have been captured verbatim in the official report. Any corrections? Honorable members. Yes, please. You don't have copies?
No, right, yes, please, we don't have copies.
What about the 9th, 10th, and 11th July? These are all none. Of that and get copies. Honorable members, next item, business statement. Chairman, Business Committee.
Right, Honorable Speaker, with respect, shall proceed with a business statement for the week ending 20th of December 2024. Mr. Speaker, the business for the week, same by a 9-page document by my very self and attached to this report. Mr. Speaker, what we have, we expect to not only end on Friday, but Mr. Speaker, if you will permit, we may have to add Saturday to the sitting, so that we could adjourn for the Christmas and then come back. Mr. Speaker, All these that have been proposed are conditioned on resolving some critical outstanding matters, particularly statutory payments and other matters that members expect action on. I expect the whips to take this matter up, the majority and the minority whips to take the outstanding statutory payment matters up, so that it will pave the way for us to have a smooth deliberations for the week. The Speaker, the report has been circulated to all members, and I shall proceed to resume my seat, and let's invite comments from members so that we bring a finality to the program for the week. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, honorable members, we take it that the business report has been presented. Any comments? Yes, Honorable Aruna Idrisu.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to make a comment on the business statement presented by the leader of government business. And Mr. Speaker, one thought that the leader will take a cue from your guidance. There are major developments in the country, and therefore, as a house, Mr. Speaker, one of the most important business this house should preoccupy itself with is the expenditure in advance of appropriation for January to May 2025. Arguably, Mr. Speaker, because the new government, which will assume the powers of government from 7th January, have to put its house together in order to get a budget before the reconstituted parliament on midnight of 6th to 7th January. Therefore, what we are expected to do is to know, one, how the workers of this country will be taken care of in respect of compensation. Then, if there are interest payment commitments on loans in order that the country does not stand in default, that will also be addressed. So, Mr. Speaker, whilst you are giving your comments, I'm not sure the leader was listening. So that is major business. As for wanting to commit the new administration to some of the policy guidance, Mr. Speaker, we note that this government has a mandate until midnight of 6th January. But cautiously, they should be guided that they are not committing the incoming administration to some fiscal and budget constraints with some of the decisions they want to make. So he should, as you guided, Mr. Speaker, some of it that he wants to, some of the business he wants to take, even though he says that he wants understanding and consensus, he should be guided and prioritize government business. Our first major business should be the expenditure in advance of appropriation that this house must concern itself with. The other business can wait. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Blakwa.
Right, Honorable Speaker. Right, Honorable Speaker. The list of priorities for this meeting, the Speaker, I want to respectfully appeal to you. As you read through your list of priorities, I was hoping to hear that we'll include work on the constitutional amendment bill on the dual citizenship matter, because, Mr. Speaker, I thought that we had come very far on that, but I didn't hear you speak to that matter, and it also doesn't find expression here in the business statement. So, Speaker, if you can probably avert your mind to that. Then, Mr. Speaker, the second issue that I want to raise relates to the tall list of tax waivers that the majority leader continues to present to this House in business statements. Mr. Speaker, we have stated our position on this matter, and considering the fact that all of these matters have been voted against and rejected by the Ghanaian people, why is the majority leader still putting it in the business statement? A tall list, over 40 tax waivers, Mr. Speaker, and this will have serious fiscal implications for the next government. I mean, why do you want to saddle the next government with these huge revenue losses when you have been wrongly rejected at the polls? And this is a government talking about coming to cut down obnoxious nuisance taxes, and then you are creating more fiscal liabilities for us. So, Mr. Speaker, we want to serve notice that these tax waivers, we are not going to support them. So, please listen to the Right Honourable Speaker's list of priorities, particularly the budget for the first 3 months of next year. As for tax waivers, we cannot support you. Honourable Afenyoman, we cannot support you. So, you need to really get this out of the business statement. I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Chairman. Yes, Honorable Dr. Matthew Opekuprempe. Yes.
It's not hyphenated.
It's not.
It's not.
Only the NAPO is together.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I thought the minority leader and the majority leader had come to an understanding as far as government business that we can perceive this session that we are undergoing. Just to get up and say that Ghanaians have totally rejected MPP and all his bills and all his encumbrances is a very, very unfair statement, Mr. Speaker. It's a very, very unfair statement in the sense that there are other things that have been programmed that I think that we shouldn't even bother to do. Why should we at this time take up any bill, whether it is environmental bill or social bill? I think the new government then should come and start, because we are resetting. And I agree, Ghanaians voted for resetting. So, Mr. Speaker, let's probably, the only thing we have to do is to take the vote on account and close shop. We should not continue with any business here, because like Honorable Okuyeto said, and rightly so, Ghanaians have voted for the resetting agenda of Ekoko Kiti. So, not only that, Mr. Speaker, apart from the vote and proceedings and maybe his end of service benefits that he is very much interested in, every other thing, social protection bill, second reading of bills, third reading, so that we have enough time to do Article 71 business and do vote on account, so that yes, if it is not worth doing, it's not worth doing. Please. So we have agreed on resetting. Let's close shop on everything. Do those that are interested in that will further his own personal interest and close shop. Thank you.
Honourable members, we don't need to debate this matter. I've guarded the House because I know what happened at the end of 2000, and I know what happened at the end of 2008. I know what happened at the end of 2016. I know the statements that incoming governments made and the outgoing governments, and we are following those good practices. And so before I gave the proposals in my statement, leadership had a bite on it. Where they agree, I captured it. Where they disagreed, I eliminated it. So I just simply said the items are captured in my statement, sequence them so that we can handle them, because I thought the number one priority is the expenditure in advance of appropriation. In fact, I was told that we will start it today. I'm aware that a request was also made for the Public Accounts Committee reports because of the nature of those reports. And so I captured those things for our consideration. Beyond that, not for the determination of the 8th Parliament. The 9th Parliament will come to continue if the new government considers it necessary to proceed with. So let's take to this agenda and let's get some business done. Please. That will be my focus. Yes, Minority Chief Whip.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. Just to add that, Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Leader of the House suggested we sit on Saturday. Mr. Speaker, that is totally rejected. There's no reason for us to sit on Saturday. Mr. Speaker, on 2 occasions, his side dragged us out of our constituencies to this house to do what he described as urgent business, which is not different from what is the place here. He refused to even come and do his own business. Now that you have called us under normal circumstances, he's asking us to add another day, a Saturday. Mr. Speaker, what is the justification? And that is why I adopt the position by the former running mate of New Patriotic Party, my own friend, Honorable Dr. Opoku Prempe, who says that we should take the businesses that are urgent, that is appropriation in advance expenditure in advance of appropriation, and those items that are time bound. And then we call it a day. The new government comes and decides what priorities are. Then we do them, Mr. Speaker. So I think, Leader, we beg you. I know you have a tough job, but to assume that we can do, you know it yourself, we cannot start any bill now. We've never even done it before. It is just not there. And I would encourage you. The atmosphere in the house today appears to be cordial. I entreat you to entrench the peaceful nature of this house towards Friday. Any attempt to do other things may not be good. And you also said the whips should do something about welfare. Leader, you have the key to addressing the welfare issues of this house. I have no control over the finance minister. I have no control over the common fund administrator. You can do that. I don't even know the last time I saw the how do you call it? The common fund administrator. All I know is that during the campaign, candidates of a particular party receive a lot of goodies from common fund. It's not from her. It's not from her. Okay. Honorable Dr. Said it's not from her. I just said, I didn't mention anything. I said they receive goodies. One particular party received goodies that appear to be goods from common fund. But if it's not from her, fine. But the only people who can cause the common fund administrator to disperse to the assemblies, the only person who can cause the common fund administrator to fulfill her mandate as in the constitution is you, not our side. But if he fails, maybe we would advise ourselves. So there is no shifting of responsibility. You have the opportunity. I've seen people call you majority leader today. Lift your expectation. We have 5 days to prove you are majority leader. Otherwise, we take it. I will reserve other comments.
Honorable members, we are on the business statement. Yes, Chairman, Business Committee, and Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, these items that have been listed on the business statement have not suddenly arisen. They are not matters that have suddenly arisen.
they have been with us. In the spirit of continuity in governance, in the spirit of setting a certain novel precedence to guide tomorrow, I want to encourage my colleagues to cooperate with government to do this key government business. For instance, Mr. Speaker, my respected colleague Ablakwa of Norton stated that the incoming government intends to reduce taxes and deal with obnoxious the tax regime we have. According to him, to repeal taxes, we are given an incentive. You say no.
Leader, business statement.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I'm responding to the consensus.
No, we are not debating
okay,
the subject matter. We are looking at the business statement and the items.
So, Mr. Speaker, what I'm saying is that I did not just come up with these. We sat at the committee. It's a collective decision to bring this proposal. Mr. Speaker, they should know that they are coming into government too. This opposition posture, you better change. I mean, you are no more in opposition. You better stop that your behavior. You should change your behavior. We should see signs of your readiness to go and stop this violence, chaotic, bugaga thing. Stop. You are not
honorable members, please. We are not just in a conversation. We are in the parliament and we have rules. These items found space on the order paper because they are pending business. And so if you look at the standing orders, you have to keep on capturing them on the standing orders because they are business before the House. They were earlier on admitted by the Speaker. They were presented to the House. They are before us and they are not completed. So they will always find space in the order paper. But I have stated clearly that in view of the limitation of time and the season, we will not do justice to this business if we decide to take them now. As a result of that, we should take just a few key items that can keep the wheel of governance going and the public interest attended to. And that is why I mentioned those items, particularly as they've been agreed to by both sides of the House. And so let's stick to that. The others, there will be no time to consider them if we really want to do good business for the people of Ghana. Please, let's move on. There are other things that I want to inform you. But yes, Minority Leader.
Right Honourable Speaker, let me also comment on the business statement. The Speaker, this morning I made it clear to my colleague, the Honourable Afenyo Marken, that it would be wrong for an outgoing government to commit an incoming government to millions of US dollars, which will be a fiscal strain on the next budget. The Speaker, I said this on the backdrop that, the Speaker, it is very wrong for a government that has is leaving office in 3 weeks, to commit 140 million euros. The Speaker, if it is extremely important for the state, allow the new government to commit them. Right Honourable Speaker, the tax exemptions before us, if approved, will have a fiscal burden in the next budget. So you are saying that the next government should carry your burden of $350 million? Mr. Speaker, no way. It's not going to happen. Right Honourable Speaker,
activities before us cannot commit to the 2025 budget. You don't know the priorities of the next government. Look, I reviewed the Hansard before coming here. The Honorable Chairman Bosu is a president to me. Okay, it's authority on this matter. In 2016, he said to us that, and it is for that reason why today we were not able to take the loan for Damango water. I brought Damango water before us. And if it is urgent or important, allow the next government to take it. So, Mr. Speaker, issues that will commit this country, as long as our budget is concerned, Mr. Speaker, I beg to say that let us leave it for the next administration to handle. But there are other low-hanging fruits here, like the Environmental Protection Agency bill. It is only, we finished the bill, it is only the third reading. So Speaker, that one, if you want to do it, you can do it. If you don't want it, the next minister responsible for environment will come and do it. But anything else, Mr. Speaker, it won't happen. It will not happen. Thank you.
Hello. Is that the Minister for Defense?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, I just want to be clear that to take a commercial loan and for Ghana and the IMF to agree only simply means that there must be special reasons why the IMF will agree for Ghana to take a commercial loan. And he knows that it was the IMF himself that had to agree to open up the space for Ghana to be able to take this because Ghana does not have aircraft and ships. It doesn't have aircraft and ships for our military. I don't have a problem with the next administration dealing with it. But when there is an opportunity to do it and you don't do it, that is up to them to be able to do it. I don't have a problem at all. And I just told him that at all, that we don't have a problem. I am saying that you have opportunity to purchase 2 ships from France for the Ghana Navy. If you think that you cannot do it now, Mr. Speaker, you wait and do it when the government comes. We don't have that problem. The new government comes. Nobody has that problem at all. I don't have a problem at all. If the IMF will agree and open for them to borrow next year, I don't have a problem at all with that. And so I will defer to them, Mr. Speaker, for them, because it leaves the burden of some of us to be able to do that. And the military know that they have been chasing this for 3 years. They've had an opportunity to do it, and they are those who purchase it. It's not this government. So if they think that they cannot do it, they have to wait and start all over again. Good luck to them, Mr. Speaker. We should hold on, we should not do it, and good luck to them. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Deputy Minority Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, clearly, I think there's a need for this House either to schedule a joint caucus meeting. Mr. Speaker, most of the issues that are being discussed here are not, including even the security issues, are not good for public consumption. Mr. Speaker, it's for a good reason that on issues like this, the House will go into a joint caucus meeting for us to convince each other and know which way to go. But if I listen to the kind of discussions that we have, Mr. Speaker, it doesn't inure to the benefit of Mother Ghana. Therefore, our advice to schedule a joint purpose meeting along the line so that we can speak across the process and agree on which way to go. My humble submission, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Member for Ho Central.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I want to call upon the majority leader to reconvene a meeting of the business committee so that they'll take account of the guidance that you have given. You see, this other paper today has a lot of items to be taken, and it's wasting a lot of paper. It's wasting a lot of paper. So if they take a cue from the guidance that you have given and redraw the business statement, then we will not have such copious items on the other paper to be taken every day. In consequence, you will find out that whatever limited business we have to do, we can take 2-3 days and finish it. Then we don't even have to wait till Friday before we adjourn. So my humble submission to the majority leader is that he should reconvene a business committee meeting to redraw the business statement, taking account of your guidance and all that colleagues have said today on the floor. I thank you.
Yes, honorable member for Tamalinov. Oh, sorry.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the business statement that has been ably presented by the majority leader. Mr. Speaker, I will not wish to take part in the ongoing conversation on the other matters. I just want to crave your indulgence and make an appeal, Mr. Speaker, to you and the business committee to perhaps consider, even though the time is so short, space for a security briefing on the elections that has just taken place. Mr. Speaker, this government may not have the opportunity again to speak to this nation on how well or not they have handled security, especially in relation to the just ended elections. Mr. Speaker, I think this is important because loss of lives during elections should not become a norm. Our elections should not always record the loss of Ghanaian lives. Mr. Speaker, it's becoming one too many. The first time we recorded this was in the 2020 general elections, where about 6 to 7 lives were lost after the elections. 7 to 8 lives. Mr. Speaker, just this election that has gone by, we are told of about 2 or 3 lives that have been lost. Mr. Speaker, indeed, as we speak, a family in Tolong, in Yampala, is preparing for a funeral tomorrow with about 15 others nursing various degrees of injuries. Mr. Speaker, that cannot be accepted without us taking measures and proper briefing on what might have gone wrong. And so, Mr. Speaker, even though we do not have time, I will plead that the business committee considers a briefing to this house by either the defense minister or the interior minister or whoever was responsible for the provision of security in the just ended elections, so that the incoming government perhaps can take a cue and assure us that never again, after these 2 incidents, will we record loss of lives again during our elections. Mr. Speaker, it is my humble appeal to you and the business committee to consider. Thank you.
Honorable members, yes, Dr. Opoku Prembe.
Thank you.
Before the Minister for Defense.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you ably and aptly described the agenda that has been agreed between the two leaders. Probably what we didn't do was to say that it is a restated business statement for the rest of the week. But we have gone round and round and round, and we are coming back with a consensus to say maybe the leadership should meet urgently and consider things that the two sides can agree so that we go. I also don't believe that we are going to sit here and pick and choose. If we are not going to, and it's left with only one or two items, let's do those one or two items and leave the incoming government with a free hand to operate as they want. But what has been agreed, vote on expenditure for the first quarter of next year and other matters that we all agree to. Let's do that. And we can rise in 2-3 days. I don't believe personally that we should go about doing first reading of a bill, second reading of a bill, third reading of a bill, because it all has implications on the physical balance of the country. There's not a single bill here that doesn't have got a cost implication for government. So let's leave it to them and let them inherit all the goodness of what we're trying to do, and let them bring in all the badness that they are bringing, so that Canadians will know the difference. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minister for Defense.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, I just want to support the position that, look, the business committee has met. We have never had a situation where the business committee has met and we have done everything. What we can do within the next 4 days, Mr. Speaker, let's do it. What is not possible? Because if the two leaders or the leadership agree on what is possible, let's do it and move on. But Mr. Speaker, I want to respond to what my colleagues said. We as a country agreed from 2008 that ministers of state, government functionaries, including the MMDs, so municipal chief executives, the DCEs, ministers of state, government officials, members of parliament cannot and should not be in charge of security when it comes to election matters. It should be left to the purview of the security services led by the police. So at the national level, it is the Inspector General of Police who is in charge of the security, the committee that oversees the security when it comes to election purposes. And at the regional level, it is the regional police commander who is in charge of it. And at district level, it is the district police commander who is in charge of it. And so that's how it is. There's an election committee at the national, at the regional, and at the district. If you're calling the Minister for Interior, he will just simply come and tell you who's not in charge of it. It's the IGP. If you call any other person, whether it's defense or interior or any of the ministers, they will just be there. They will have no answers because at the day of before elections, the election and after election, is the security people who are in charge, led by the Inspector General of Police. So if the Speaker thinks or the House thinks that they want to call the election security to come and brief this House, it cannot be members of, it cannot be ministers or government appointees because they have no role. And in fact, it was good. It's good that the executive were not in charge of security. It's always been like that because you cannot be in charge of the
Post this Saturday for us to sit. Because I thought that by Friday we might not have completed these items. So I added Saturday. If need be, we should sit on Saturday to make sure that we complete them. Because after Saturday, we're going into the Christmas recess. In fact, Christmas break. And then by the time you return, it's around 28th. And you have some business around 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st. Where you start making the necessary preparations for a transition. By our new standing orders, there are a number of things we have to do, including the government of the day, to pave way for the new government to take over. And so all this has been factored into the presentation I made. Once again, I want to urge you to be guided by that presentation. As we sit, we have the presidential transition team, the technical team working on the details of the transition. 845, the functions of the team. And there are some things that they have to do. And we in this house have a role to play. If you go to section 2 of the Act, it's clearly stated there at 2C, the functions under clause 7, clause 1 of Article 71, and Roman 2 by Parliament under clause 2 of Article 71, and which are due to the holders of the offices specified in Article 71 of the Constitution, are paid or accorded to those persons without undue delay. So we have a lot of work to do around that time. We know we are all agreed that there's a need for reforms. But until the reforms, these are end. And this involves a lot of public officials, not politicians, a lot of public officials who actually take what we call gratuity. A lot ex gratia, gratuity. So we need to find space for this. And I will propose that leaders to focus on that and put in place a committee in readiness to receive the report. I was expecting to get a copy of the report today. Unfortunately, it hasn't yet gotten to the destination. I haven't received anything like that. And so we want this house to have a dedicated committee or to constitute itself in the committee of the whole, so that immediately it arrives, they are able to go into the details and to present a report for the approval of the House. And that deals with the conditions of service for the executive and the judiciary. So please, members, let's take note of that. We don't have the pressure of time, and we need to hurry up on these critical matters. Finish them before the end of this month, and then we can now pave the way to transit, because the intention is for the next, not just on the 7th, but we are proposing, and it is stated in the law, the Presidential Transition Act 2012, that the election of the next speaker be done 2 days to the end of the term of the Parliament. And so that you don't have to be doing elections on the 7th of the speaker. It will be like with swearing in of the speaker, who will now swear in the members, including the deputy speakers. And that will give a very seamless transition for the House to move to swear in a president on the same day. Our illustrious luminaries, the guests that we invite from other countries, don't come and spend the whole day waiting for us to banter over who is speaker, elected speaker on the floor of the House. So we are finding space for all this. So we don't have a measure of time to be going back to consider very substantive, controversial matters. Please, let's have faith in each other and allow governance as a continuum to lead us to develop our nation. I think this will be my last appeal, and I will not entertain anybody taking us backwards. So please, able office, tomorrow's order paper, make sure that you do the right thing by eliminating all this very heavy business load on the House, because we will not be able to do them. We should not keep on deceiving the public that these are before the House. On the issue of the Constitution Amendment Bill, that is very dear to my heart. But there were serious objections that were raised by the current government, and in the discussion with leadership, there was no agreement. And so we decided that since we all agree that it's important to make some constitutional reforms, why not let's carry it along to the next government for it to be comprehensively taken through with the rest. If the need be for it to be taken earlier, it will be done within the first quarter of next year. So that was the understanding. So I had to remove that from my priority list and to allow the social protection bill, because again, the leaders drew my attention to some benefits that will inure to the country. And it's not a controversial bill that we could take it through as quickly as possible. That is why it's being added to the list of priorities. So please, let's go on with that. With this, I proceed to put the question. Those in favor of the adoption of the report of the Business Committee as revised by members. Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, with respect, we've discussed and expressed opinions. My humble suggestion is that we should adopt the report subject to the issues raised, so that, Mr. Speaker, we come back to the House. I mean, the adoption of the report is not a finality. I have to revise that because we have not given specific amendment to it. And we agreed as a House. And I'm surprised that the minority leader coming to the floor to again raise an objection on a matter that by consensus we've agreed. But that is politics, Mr. Speaker. An impression is being created as if these items are new items that have suddenly arisen. It is not the case, but it's okay, I rest my case.
Majority Leader, it's not fair. You know your colleague Minority Leader is not here. But both of you sat with me on this matter. Yes, and you never agreed. He's not there. Now you got up to say you agreed, and you are trying to talk about at the business committee level. I wasn't present there. The meeting I was present was me and the two of you. You did not even allow your colleagues in leadership to be part of that discussion. And you disagree. So you don't get up to paint a picture as if he's reneging on something he has agreed to earlier on. That's not fair.
Right, Mr. Speaker, I don't want to debate this matter, but Mr. Speaker, we had a business committee meeting, and I have signed a business committee rules. Mr. Speaker, for me, if members have new issues to deal with, we can deal with them. But let us adopt the report without any conditions. And then we can take other matters up. That's what I want to suggest to the House.
Yes, honorable members, do we have to keep on debating this matter? Yes, okay.
Speaker, truly, the honorable minority leader, when he called to the business committee meeting, the honorable majority leader was not there. So it is not like the two of them met at the business committee meeting. Leader, made the meeting, closed the meeting and left. When he got there, he decided and wanted the meeting to be reconvened because you misled him with the time. So if you come here and you are now painting him as if he went to the meeting and agreed with you, only to come here and have a change of mind, you are not being fair to him.
For Christ's sake, Mr. Speaker, the honorable minority forcing one thing. He said agreed upon because I expressed his opinion. He has come to do say, and you are painting him black. So which is which? So clearly, Mr. Speaker, we should go by the path that you are charting to, and I think it's the best way to go. The as expenditure in appropriation, you go and say that, oh, and these people don't want workers to be paid. Let's prioritize that. When we finish that and there's something to be done, that one will be up to us.
Honorable Ayarga.
Speaker, I think that we all know that whatever is contained in the report constitute proposals to us as a house to accept or reject. The proposals were made. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, you drew attention to the fact that given the time at our disposal, we will not be able realistically to cover all the items that are being proposed. And you suggested that we prioritize certain items. Members raised issues, rejected some items contained in the proposal. You have put it to a vote. And he is saying that we should accept everything. When members are very clear that certain items contained in the proposals are not acceptable to them. If you don't accept a revised proposal, this side is likely to vote against it. And if we vote against it, then there will be a problem. So please accept a revised proposal as indicated by the Speaker so that we can move on. Please. We raised issues about the tax exemptions. We've raised issues about the bills. In fact, your own side is even against some of the proposals and said that let's deal with the expenditure item for the first quarter of next year. And then we close. So there's clearly no consensus on all the items contained in the proposal. That is why we should accept the Speaker's proposal that let's adopt a revised business statement report. And then we can move on.
So, Majority Leader, you want me to put the question without the word revised? I just put the question. Those who are in favor of the adoption of the report, then they vote.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes, please.
Mr. Speaker, let me make this important point. Then we can draw the curtain on this matter. Mr. Speaker, the practice in a parliament is for government business to be tabled on the floor, views expressed, and a vote taken. Mr. Speaker, these items have been business of government since some have been on the business state or a border paper since 2022. Some have been on the order paper since May. Mr. Speaker, what is their problem? If you say you are opposed to it, so be it. Let us come with a motion. You have your 137. Your 137 will say no. Our 138, if we have it, we vote for it. Two, Mr. Speaker, on the judges, the committee is done with its report. You participated. The report is supposed to be laid. If you are against it, that is your principled position. But you cannot say that government business, because you merely disagree, we should not list it on the order paper, or that it should not be a matter for business committee to consider. We will be setting a bad precedent for democracy. We will be setting a bad precedent for democracy where members will say that because they disagree, they will vote against a business statement to say that we agree for this item to be on the business statement. We don't agree for this. What you do is to wait to express your opinion. And when you express your opinion, if at the end of the day your opinion carries against, so be it. But Mr. Speaker, what they are introducing is very unknown to our democracy. Very unknown. And I want to accept that. We should not set a bad precedent
Please resume your seat.
Thank you.
We have been confronted a similar challenge that faced us. That time I was chairman of the Committee of Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs. His Excellency the President was a ranking member. Go and read it. The same issue of nomination of judges to the Supreme Court came up. And there was serious objection by the minority then. And the then government had to drop those nominees. Go and read the answer. And the reason that were adduced, led by His Excellency the President at that time, they are there. So don't create the impression that this is the first time such a challenge is facing the House. If there's a need for us to improve upon it, and I believe there's always the need to improve on these things, okay, let's say so, and let's go on it. But I gave you a reason that these matters are so important that we need time to consider them well. If you wanted to always sit till midnight or the next day, I'm available. Luckily, I'm very healthy now. You know, I can say true. Be prepared, but let's do a good job to make sure that the decisions we take will be to the benefit of Ghana and Ghanaians. That's most important, not just rush through them and then maybe further aggravate the economic or social situation in the country. That's my worry. We have spent the whole day today not doing much. I don't know what will happen tomorrow. But I'll put the question. If I put the question as you have requested, I'm trying to look at your numbers. Because sometimes I have to save you from embarrassment. I have to look at your numbers and look at their numbers to see whether you are likely to win or lose. You have to adopt. You have to adopt the business. I have to put the question. To adopt. Yes, we should check the rules.
The Speaker.
Yes.
The Speaker, the business committee report has been submitted. And issues have been raised. Some issues have been raised. Some of them legitimate with respect to the time available to the House for doing justice to some of these matters. On the other hand, the Speaker, the matter being raised by the majority leader is also legitimate in the sense that if a paper is to be presented to the House and a decision is taken that no, will not allow you to introduce the paper to the House, it means that technically you are saying that you don't allow government business to come to the House. And that will be a dangerous precedent. I mean, technically. Also, for the Speaker, you're giving a very useful guidance as to going forward, what should be done. The Speaker, it is useful. However, we must also be careful. Is it the case that a Speaker would say that I will allow this government business, I will not allow this government business? So even though I see a lot of sense in what the Speaker is doing, we must also look at the technical implications. I think that we have these matters before us. Admittedly, it's not everything that we can deal with. So we adopt the report and we consider those matters that have come before us. We get to first reading is just rising and bowing, but we can't transact business on it. Like the second reading and so on and so forth. Because when you do the first reading, you will now have to refer the matter to the appropriate committee to go and consider and report to the House. Do we have the luxury of time? We may not have that luxury of time, which then goes to what direction the Speaker is giving us. That let's look at all these implications. So we become very pragmatic in the consideration of these matters. So I'm saying that time certainly will not allow us to deal with all these before us. I agree. But when it's advertised for a paper to be presented and the indication is that no, we will not allow this paper to be presented, that also has its own connotation, which in my view will not be good for the image of the house. But we must be pragmatic. What can we deal with? What can we not deal with? As offer some suggestions going forward. We look at what to do, what we can do, and what we cannot do. As simple as that. Which is why the leader is saying that, okay, let's adopt the report. However, we must take into consideration the various suggestions that come from the floor, that have come from the floor. Then we move on. That is my consideration of the matter.
Yes, Honorable.
Speaker, Mr. Speaker, known to us that this meeting took place without the participation of our leader. That became obvious when Honorable Ahmed took the floor. He indicated that our side did not participate because they were misled regarding the timing of the meeting. This is a very serious matter. And you have given further guidance. Indeed, I think that the proper thing to do is to adjourn and direct them to go and meet again tomorrow morning. Both sides agree on a common agenda. Bring back to us. Because we will not approve an agenda that is entirely orchestrated by one side. Mr. Speaker, it's obvious. He did not dispute the fact that Honorable Atto did not participate in the meeting. He did not also refute the fact that Honorable Atto asked for clarity in relation to exactly what should constitute the agenda. So clearly, this is not an agenda that was agreed upon by both sides. So he misled us, and so this House is being cajoled into accepting something that one side did not participate in deciding on. So I think that the best thing to do is to adjourn, direct them to go tomorrow morning, meet, and then agree on something and bring to us, informed by the debates that have taken place today, the discussions that have taken place today, and your own advice. And I heard you, Mr. Speaker, indicate that even you were not aware of the entirety of what will constitute the program. And that is why you recommended that we should stick to certain items that you think are more practical. And indeed, the great leader is agreeing that we must be very practical, that we cannot deal with this tall list of items that the majority leader is trying to impose upon us. So I urge you to adjourn and refer the matter back to the business committee. Let them meet tomorrow morning and let them bring us a practical, acceptable, realistic agenda. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, even though I allow you for purposes of education and creating public awareness as to how we do our business, so sometimes I allow these exchanges. It's important for us to note that the speakers listen to both sides of the House. And the information at the disposal of the speaker also includes the technical staff. Because the clerk is the principal advisor to the speaker on practice and procedure of the House. Apart from that, there are other authorities that get in touch with the speaker. And so I use that to advise. But when a business item is admitted by the speaker, and it is passed on and processed for the consideration of the business committee, and is scheduled for the attention of the House, that item cannot just be prevented from being presented because it's not yet before the House. It's when it's presented that becomes the property of the House. and the House now will take time to go into it, bring a report for deliberation. It's at the time of taking a decision that the House will reject or approve it or adopt a report. When I talked about the adoption of the Business Committee report, I did that because I'm aware that when I say it's so adopted, a member could challenge this, to use the general word, ruling. And that meant that we have to put it to a vote. And so in doing these things, that's why I was drawing your attention to the fact that I have to look at the numbers on the floor, on both sides of the House. And sometimes, as Speaker, when you think that this matter is in the interest of the nation, and you want it to go through, but you see that if you put the question, it's likely to be rejected, because those against it are more than those for it, then you apply the other rules. And so sometimes I'm drawing your attention to the fact that yes, you are majority leader, you are in charge of government business, but don't imperil government business. And more so, having sat on that chair for many years, I'm aware always as a leader, you have to go back because you need the support of those in the opposition to be able to carry on government business. And so if you recall, you are not too old in the House, but at least you are not also young. There are a number of times even allowed during my tenure the opposition members to lead the business, to carry it through. It's very, very important. It's not for the individual's glory or party glory, but the national interest. So please, I will hesitate to refer it back to the Business Committee to reconsider. I thought the guidance had been given, and I was proceeding because all the important items have been stated, telling the table office to put across in the order paper for tomorrow's consideration. But if you, as leader of government business, insist that we should see carry on with all, well, it's fine. Because I didn't only talk about even the challenge of time, I also talk about the season. And I'm aware that a number of your members will not be showing up. I'm very sure about that. You can contest me on it, but I'm very sure they will not be showing up for the business of the House. Anyway, you have the last.
Mr. Speaker, the Business Committee meeting wasn't a one-sided meeting. Members of the NDC minority were part of the meeting, for the records. I have not misled the House into believing that the report was consensus. This report was consensus. We have arrived at the items by consensus. 3, the time agreed was 10 a.m. and it is a clerk to the committee that advertised it on our platform. It was not my time of choosing where I hurriedly convened a meeting without my other colleagues. But I agree that when the meeting had closed and Dr. Forsen had come in, he had expressed his own views about some of the items, which views he expressed before you at the preceding deliberations. So, Mr. Speaker, I wasn't saying anything different. My worry is about the precedents we are setting on this matter. That the matter contained in the proposal should come before us. If it comes, and we deliberate and we take a decision, that at that point is before the House. My dear Mr. Speaker, at this stage, it's going to be a novel practice for the House to say that Business Committee meeting, because there is a disagreement, we are going to reject or take some out and amend. Mr. Speaker, as it pleases the House, you
to guide us. And I will yield to the suggestions that you want to put across. But I find it a novel practice. And again, and finally, the suggestion that some of these items are new are completely untrue. Mr. Speaker, these items have been pending for months and years, and my colleagues know. If we may not have our members, let's wait for that day. If I won't put it to a vote for me to lose a question. So, Mr. Speaker, let's get to the bridge and then we'll close it. These are items that government wants to pursue. If we get there and we don't have our 138, we'll step it down. But my colleagues should proceed to oppose it when the thing comes to a vote, rather than to prevent it from being discussed. That one, I disagree. And I want Hamza to capture my such. Mr. Speaker, having made my point, the rest lies with you. Thank you.
Anyway, honorable members, if you look at the order paper, item 10 deals with presentation of papers, which means that there are new matters to be presented to the House. So when you say there are no new matters, it is not wholly true. And I did draw your attention to the agreements dealing with the military on behalf of the government of Ghana and the French government. That one, I have no knowledge of it, and we just seen it. So that's French business. And it's not only one. If you go through it, these are businesses to be presented. 10, A, B, C, D. They are businesses to be presented. So please, let's stop at this. But what happened at your business committee meeting is actually not under discussion here. I think we should leave it at that, because I usually ask for better and better calculation. Yes, please, Deputy Minority Whip.
Mr. Speaker, for the records, I just want the majority leader to be aware that he misled us. Mr. Speaker, the business committee notice was issued with the time at 8 a.m. This morning, the majority leader changed the time and said, let's do 9 a.m. At 9 a.m., he directed the clerk to change from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. You change the time twice. The text is here. On the platform is here. So we were operating that once he changed the time to 10 a.m., it's 10 a.m. We got that 10 a.m., you have said the meeting is over. Then you are telling us that we are not misled. You misled us. If we got that late, it doesn't even like you didn't mislead us. 8 a.m. is the meeting takes place at 8 a.m. When you said let's do 9 a.m., all your text messages are here. 8 a.m., you said let's do 9 a.m. Then later, the clerk issue has been directed by the majority leader to reset the meeting to 10 a.m. That is here. Is it true or false? Then we're waiting 10 a.m. I took on that 10:13. You said the meeting is over. Then he said, no, let's reconvene it. You said you are going to pursue other issues. When I told them, were you there? No, Mr. Speaker. You see, Alex, let's stay there. If you have admitted your mistake, that you misled us, maybe we should have considered you. But you misled us, and you are continuously down for the record. Now you are proving to me that it was deliberate. Oh, let's give them by the time. And take everything to the floor. Ask your deputy. When I questioned her, she said, oh, let's go to the floor so that you raise your issues here. Then you have come to do same, and you are saying that no, you shouldn't do that.
With respect, the minority leader indicated to the reason for the time change was that he said you had a caucus meeting. Mr. Speaker, it was at the instance of your leader. Please don't let us go there. The 8 to 9, 9 to 10 was because he indicated you guys had a caucus meeting. And I yielded. You may recall that on the same platform, we were to have the meeting last week. And Honorable Kwame Abuja, the chief whip, requested that we do it today. And I again yielded. It was not because I wanted to be, I got consensus with you. When there are some small errors, then you want to blow it out of proportion. Honorable Ahmed, we were supposed to have this meeting on Friday. You said you wanted it today. I immediately agreed. Your side requested for a change in time. I agree. They requested for it again. I agree. And then when we started the meeting, some of your members were there, and we started. So let's not go there. The point I've made is that if you have strong views, let it get to the stage where you can reject or otherwise. But to say that it shouldn't come at all, it's not acceptable. That's the point I've made. But I agree with Mr. Speaker that indeed I erred by saying that all the items have been on the business statement for some time. Some are indeed new, and that I concede on the correction made to my earlier submission by Mr. Speaker. I concede on that. Mr. Speaker, I believe we can make progress.
Honorable members, the evidence at my disposal is that initially the meeting was scheduled for 8 a.m. And then both sides came with the fact that they have to have caucus meetings. So it was shifted to 9. At 9, the information was that they hadn't completed the meetings, so it was shifted to 10. That is the information at my disposal. And so this is what happened, which led to the change of time. We have gone past that. We are looking at a reality. It's a reality challenge. And so we will please keep what we have now, but we will do what we can do. I will guard against decisions that could work against the interests of the nation. And therefore, there are some items that I will not want to endanger in a deliberation now. And so my advice will be for us to take that and let the incoming government come to consider it. That will be my advice. Because if you consider it now and maybe it's rejected or you bastardize it, we may not have the opportunity to reevaluate it and maybe take a better decision on it. So please, honorable members, let's end it here and then proceed to other items. I see the very senior veteran member of parliament, Honorable Cletus Aboka.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I humbly want to suggest that this is not the first time that a business statement has been subjected to debate and suggestions, etc. So like you observed earlier, I don't think that we need a second business committee meeting on this matter. What we should do is that we adopt the statement, we adopt the business statement, subject to the suggestions and recommendations that have been expressed on the floor and your guidance. That's all. And then we continue. Tomorrow, as and when matters come, we do them. We don't need to go and have another meeting on the business committee to waste our time. We adopt the business statement as read today, subject to the amendments or suggestions that have been expressed on the floor, including your guidance. And we move ahead. That has been the practice.
Former majority leader, the current majority leader is not in favor of it being subjected to any proposal. But that was my earlier proposal. But you are not against it being subject to. Oh yes, then let's go there. Please.
Mr. Speaker, that was the very view I expressed. Hansard would bear me up. I use the word yes. You see, Mr. Speaker, you know, the incoming majority, because of the limited nature of the appointment, all of you may be redundant. All of you will be redundant at the backbench, and you will always be redundant, and they'll be looking for you. Who come? Mr. Speaker, very soon, you will tell the incoming majority leader, look at your back, check behind you. There will be nobody, because you will all be looking for things for your constituent. Mr. Speaker, be it as it may, I agree that we adopt the report subject to the views expressed, etc., etc. Let peace remain. Let there be peace. It's okay. Granted, I wasn't loud enough on this. Now, I bring clarity to it. Let's make progress. That is all.
Yes, honorable members, we need to debate this again. Yes, please.
Mr. Speaker, we don't need to debate this. But Mr. Speaker, my colleague on the other side, you've actually helped him when he was insisting that you shouldn't put a question because he wanted everything here to be adopted. Mr. Speaker, I will encourage you, and he's saying that whenever he's got his numbers, he will bring things that we don't like and put them to vote. Mr. Speaker, I want you to be fair to him and all of us. Put the issues, even the business statement, to listen. So if the House decide that we are rejecting it, let's reject it today, not on the day that he's got people on his side. So, Mr. Speaker, I entreat you, put the issue to a vote, so that let us reject it, for him to know that we are opposed to the attempt to grant tax waivers worth 300 million, which have been opposed for 2 years. Mr. Speaker, put a question. Don't even give him the opportunity, because you were speaking to him in parable when you said to him that sometimes you protect him by asking him to look at his back. By looking at his back, Mr. Speaker, what happens the day that the people on my back are not enough and his are more? Then you try to take the judges, take this. Would that be fair on that day? Mr. Speaker, would that be fair on that day? Mr. Speaker, put a question so that we reject the business today, so that we can go and do a proper business committee meeting and agree on what is put on the business statement coming from the majority of the people on the business statement. That would be a fairer way of doing it, instead of protecting him because he has almost can't back there, just like the votes they got. So that we who are in the majority will be in the disadvantage. This is the true nature of who you are. This is why the Ghanaians gave you a vote to commensurate with the numbers you have. Yet you say you haven't learned any lessons. You haven't learned any lessons. You're still walking like this. Talking you cannot tell us we are government. Look at the size of the government. Is this a government? Is this a government? This is left at the district assembly size of this thing.
Mr. Speaker, very soon it will get to a stand. That disease that is making us suffer today, I give you 6 months. You will go through the same process. But Mr. Speaker, don't worry. The rules book we have, the standing orders. I don't want to ask you to look into your books, your standing orders. I want to tell you that there's no way that a business statement is required to be subjected to a vote. Read for me, read. Let's move past this. Read it, read. You quote me a rule that requires a business statement. Go and read the old rules and this one. Read the old rules. Mr. Akoja, read, you see, you are aspiring to be a new majority leader. Behave yourself. Don't behave yourself. Don't act as if you are still in minority. You claim you are majority. Behave like somebody who is in majority. What's wrong with you? Read where you can find in the books.
To tell us, how do you adopt something in parliament without taking a vote? Tell me which rule tells you how to adopt. Can Mr. Speaker just decide that the House has adopted without members? Tell me. Consensus. So there's no consensus today. We don't have a
Yes, honorable members, the Business Committee report is accordingly adopted. Honorable members, when I use the word accordingly, subjected to, you want me to use the word subjected to a comments made by members. These are rules that are developed through practice, because it's a report coming from a committee of the House. So there must be a procedure, albeit very informal, for the House to indicate that it has accepted that report. So it's not like a formal debate where you put the question and the House will take a decision. And so this is the procedure that was developed through practice. So we adopt it and then we move on from there. Honorable members, we will now take item 9 at the commencement of public business. Presentation. Item 9 is presentation of petitions. I don't have any indication that we have petition before us. So we'll move on to item 10, which is presentation of papers. The following papers to be presented: A, by the Minister for Finance, NA Roman 1, expenditure in advance or appropriation for January to March 2025. It's not ready. It's already. Yes, Honorable Say Chairman, suppose you want to present that paper? No?
Speaker, I think the minister himself will be in charge. But as we know, there is a role for him to play at the transitions team meeting. So if you saw, he's been there the whole day. And the Speaker, the meeting is holding, and at the same time, there's also another cabinet meeting at 5. So I'm just walking there to inform him that he needs to present it. I guess maybe tomorrow it should be ready, or maybe latest the day after tomorrow. But I guess, certainly in the course of the week.
I know the report is ready because I was given a copy to admit for the consideration of the business committee, which I did. The challenge you have now is whether there is any authority here to present it for on behalf of the Minister for Finance. If there is none, then we could leave it till tomorrow, where he himself, as you indicated, he wants to be in charge of it. So we honorably defer that item and then we move on. Yes, please.
Mr. Speaker, as you always say, we learn. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Chairman Sabonsu has laid papers in this House. In fact, it's actually been presented a budget in this House. I'm surprised that both the leader of government business and the Minister of Parliamentary Affairs do not have authority to just lay what you are talking about in this House. I don't want to believe there's any conspiracy. Mr. Speaker, one of them can actually lay this paper. Just laying. Normally they will tell you it's just laying. Honorable Chairman Sakoso has laid papers for Finance Minister, Energy Ministry. In fact, one of the days we call him Minister for everything. So it is difficult for me to understand why my good friend
Honorable Afeyomakin would not even lay this paper on behalf of Finance Minister. On record, a budget in this house equal to being a Finance Minister can lay this paper and refer it. Tomorrow we'll deal with it. Mr. Speaker, if they delay this and tell us that this is one of the reasons we'll sit on Saturday, Mr. Speaker, that will not be fair to members. That will not be fair to members. They have all opportunity today. In effect, Mr. Speaker, the first day of resumption, the government has not presented any business. That is the fact. They haven't presented any business. Yet, the leader of the House is requesting for you to add another day, which is a Saturday. How fair is that to the people of this House? When you have no business on the first day. Mr. Speaker,
Minority Chief Whip, actually, he hasn't requested that I add Saturday. He hasn't done so. I looked at the nature of the business before the House, and it was my proposal that we could not complete the business that I prioritized within the 5 days. So I added the Saturday. You have a good case because it means that it's a sign that they want to delay and then we'll be compelled to sit on Saturday. But also don't forget that times have changed. One of the issues I raised was the fact that maybe even what I admitted, because of the current situation, might have made some amendments. And that is why I took into consideration the submission by Honorable Mensah Bonsu that the minister wants to take charge of it. He wants to do it himself. And so I just pleaded that let's defer it. If there have been that kind of changes, and he gets up too late, and maybe you ask, could you give us some gist of what is in it? Then you'll be hard put. Well, he could say something today, and tomorrow, when it's presented by the minister, it will be something different. So let's leave it to tomorrow for him to come and present. Or, Honorable Chairman Bonsu. Yes, please.
Speaker, just to concur and indeed align with what you just said, that was the issue I was raising. And he knows that issues have come up recently in respect of some expenditures. The minister will have to evaluate these matters. It's not for me. So, Mr. Speaker, if the chief whip for the minority gets up and is, attributing or impugning some improper motives, Mr. Speaker, he has some uncanny ability of introducing these matters into otherwise very sanctimonious issues. And you should be
Actually, even if he did, those were not improper motives. They are proper motives.
Speaker, if you heard him,
I heard him.
That if the acceptable to some
if the intention is to delay it and to push the time to Saturday, that motive is not improper. It's proper.
Mr. Speaker, the first leg is what I'm drawing attention to. He sought to impute improper motives. That it might be some conspiracy. That's the issue that I'm creating. And he knows that those words are very offensive. He knows. We should not be indulging in this. In any event, the Speaker is also being the chief whip for the minority for some time now. He knows that even in his status as the leader of government business, not a minister, he cannot present items for on behalf of a minister. I thought this is, parliamentary practice that you must learn, or that you ought to know. So to say that, because the Speaker, let me not go on that time yet. I'll forgive him for his trespasses.
Yes, Honorable Member, the word conspiracy is not only negative, it's also positive. You can conspire to commit a crime. You can also conspire to prevent the commission of a crime. So we should not always look at it like how many of you do. You think that when they say you belong to a tribe, is negative. No, those are the building blocks of society, and they are positive. So they say you are being tribalistic. It doesn't mean it's a limitation. I don't ascribe to that view. It's the beginning of patriotism, loyalty, identity, and that is positive. It's not negative. Yes, please.
Mr. Speaker, I just want to move that we bring proceedings to an end, to go and come with renewed strength tomorrow morning. Mr. Speaker, the day is far spent and much has been discussed. Even though a decision has not been taken, I knew that the Minister for Finance will not be here to present this expenditure in advance today. I knew. And Mr. Speaker, it is for this reason that when appointments are being made, proper due diligence must be made. If the minister is engaged, what about the parliamentary candidate for Dwabusu? The Deputy Minister for Finance, who was given that position to go and contest in Dwabusu and lost. Now that he's lost, he can come and be holding the fort for the minister. Mr. Speaker, our friends were here. When those appointments had been given to Mankusen like a Himadu, he would have started that motion. Normally, the Speaker, even my good friend, Honorable Collison team, could have considered with business. But you go and give the positions to a parliamentary candidate just to win votes. Now they have lost and they have no interest. See where we are. The Speaker, move that we bring position to an end. I so do.
Yes, honorable members, in view of the situation we are in, Parliament is compelled to bring our usual festival of 9 lessons and carols earlier. And it's proposed that it be held on Wednesday. Wednesday, we'll have the festival of 9 lessons and carols and the Thanksgiving service. As you know, is usually in the presence of Parliament. And the usual time is 6 p.m. We have invited all the dignitaries. We invited His Excellency the President, and he will be represented by the Vice President, the Chief Justice, and all the clergy, and all those, sweet voices are going to be present. And I want to take this opportunity to urge all of you to make it a point to attend, to thank God for mercies and blessings, for seeing us through another very successful democratic elections, and particularly the Parliament of Ghana. You know how we have struggled to manage this and Parliament for 4 years now. We're coming to an end, and we need to show gratitude to the Almighty God for how far He's brought us. So please, honorable members, make it a point to attend. Those who are not available, kindly inform them and make sure that we are seen to be together. With this, the motion is moved for adjournment. Any seconder?
The Speaker, I rise to second the motion.
Motion moved and seconded for the consideration of the House. Be a motion for adjournment. I put the question. Those in favor say aye. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Honorable members, I will proceed to adjourn the House. And the House is adjourned tomorrow, Tuesday, the 17th of December 2024 at 10 in the phone. The House is ended.